Hello and welcome to the Dream Team Tonic podcast. 1 game week down. How are we feeling, Tony?
Good.
Good to be back.
So it's always nerve-wracking that first week, isn't it? Like you spent all this time doing your drafts and setting up your team, doing all the pods. The pressure's on, especially as content creators as well. It's just you get that bit of pressure. But I had a really nice week, so it's always nice.
Yeah, we were just saying that actually. We've two teams that are quite a bit different, but we've still somehow managed to finish up on the same amount of points. But we'll take it because it's a very good week, I think. Yeah, looking good. So we'll shout a few people out in the chat first. Let us know how you've got on as well. So we're live with our Patreon members. So we've got Owen Higgins, Mr. H, Gary Walker, Ian Curry, Miss Noopy, and David F. currently. So good evening to all you guys.
Good evening.
Ben's away on holiday. So if you're listening, Ben, on the sunbed somewhere, hope you've had a nice game week. Hope you have a nice holiday. Few patrons to shout out as well. Gary Boyden, Chris Stone, James R, Martin Gormley, Moby, and Nathan Reeve, I think, since the last pod. So locked in, ready for the new season. Should we kick off for your team?
Yeah, let's go. In the net, Cheapy, McCarthy, 2 points. When that early Newcastle red card, I thought, well, he might sneak a clean sheet here, get a bit of a rise, but it wasn't to be. Just the 2. Lewis Hall, obviously Newcastle wasn't the attacking threat they might have been if they had 11 men on the pitch. So still kept a clean sheet though, which I'm happy with. 6 points. Robinson, 6 points, no clean sheet. Really unfortunate. I thought Fulham played well again. United,
more the same.
It might just be a more of the same again from United from that first performance, but we'll see. They've won. They got 3 points up board, haven't they? Trent, doing what Trent does, 10 points.
It was good.
Yeah, it looked good. Onto the midfield, Bruno G. Again, probably hampered by the fact that we were down to 10 men, so 6 points from him. Szoboszlai, who I did like the positions he was taking up. Looked like a decent threat, like he could be able to grab a goal in that system that they're playing. So one to keep an eye on. Saka, 15 points. We know what he does in this game. Good captaincy option. A depleted Wolves, I'd say. So a nice easy win there for Arsenal, and Saka getting amongst it. Kamada, who it were tough. It was tough to watch because obviously you don't picking somebody who's quite new to the game and cheap. Obviously, I watched the game. His positioning, where he were playing, Jimenez, I know they're down as wingers kind of thing, say like a 4-3-3, 2 wide men, but they do play so narrow. So they're actually, when you watch them on the pitch, they look like number 10s, like they've got 2 10s.
Yeah, it's the wing backs giving the width, isn't it?
Yeah, with Munoz down one side and who's on the other side?
Mitchell.
Yeah. So so he got into some good positions. There were a few times where he didn't just quite fall to him. He had his shot blocked, but obviously with 1 point, he's in danger of going down. So we'll see what we have to do with him. Up top, Isak, 6 points again. He got an assist, but hampered by the playing with 10 men after that absolutely horrendous headbutt on Brereton Diaz. Just want to send my best wishes to Mr. Diaz, and I hope he can recover soon. Haaland, 9 points. I mean, Haaland doesn't. He just if he scores, he's gonna. That's how he gets his points. Goals
Yeah.
and assists, shots on target. He doesn't really do anything else. There's no bonus points. He hardly touches the ball to do anything else. So, yeah, 9 points from him. Solid start. And Salah wasn't too wide. Yeah, he looked all right. He got in time and time again behind Leif Davis on Ipswich's left-hand side. He could have done quite a bit more damage, but happy with the captain. 15 points, double to 30, 97 overall. Really nice start.
That first half was a little shaky, wasn't it, with Liverpool? But you watching that clock go, and you're thinking, "Come on, it's got to be some. It's got to be sometime soon."
Yeah.
But yeah, that as the game went on, it seemed like they had a bit more chance, didn't they?
Yeah, I think it started to click, and then as they got on top, Ipswich started to tire a little bit. It could have been more.
And I think you're unlucky with the Newcastle guys as well. I think we're going to have quite a few questions about them, but it was almost a write-off with that red card. Like, obviously they still done well with the red cards, but like a lot of the players were affected. I don't know what you think, but you've got 3 there, but are you going to let that sort of slip into your thinking? Like, I guess you've come all right because Gomares with 6, Isak with 6 is not bad really. But people like Gordon, for example, I feel like you've got to give him another chance.
Yeah, this is the thing. We know from last year about how harsh they can be on the premium players, and if they don't perform, they're going to drop. But the likes of, say, Gordon, what did he come away with, Gordon? With 2 points?
Might have been 3, I think. I
mean,
3 points.
You've picked him for a reason because you picked. I'm guessing people did the same as what I did, and if they have picked Gordon, they've picked for the first 2 fixtures, and then also with the cup game thrown in. I wouldn't be jumping away from Gordon too early. Definitely not. He might not get the second game, but you did pick him. He might not get the second, the double game week, but you did pick him for this second fixture. And obviously, if Newcastle go into it and they can keep 11 men on the pitch, he'll probably do the damage that you were hoping he would do in the first game.
That was, I know everyone's picking out Diaz for that, but how stupid you have to be. Like, there's always going to happen, isn't it? Him going down that easy.
It wouldn't have surprised me if they both went down.
Yeah, you got to know better than that, I think.
Yeah,
as frustrating as it is.
Yeah, you're 30 minutes into the new season. Don't go shoving your head into someone's face. But it doesn't excuse the diving though. Like, it's embarrassing that, and I think, in my opinion, there should be retrospective action taken against people doing that. I mean, he's got someone sent off purposely.
Yeah.
I think he should get a 3-match ban himself.
I'm not sure.
How long did he stay?
He did make the most of it. I obviously just watched the highlights because, like I was saying to you, I've been away all weekend. At a wedding, so it was mostly just match of the day for me. But all the booze he was getting every time he touched the ball and everything after was pretty good. So he had a few shanks as well, didn't he? And I was like, hey. Yeah. What's your first thoughts then for sort of next week with your team? I heard you say like you might consider Kamada out, which we'll maybe save for another question. But how are you balancing the sort of price changes and then? I mean, we spent so long planning these teams.
Yeah,
there shouldn't be too much wrong.
No, and I don't think there is. I mean, a 97-point week. There's not much to fix. Obviously the budget building is massive, especially with how they've priced it. It's priced well. It's priced difficult. And if we want to be able to up our premium players from, like, say, 5 to 6 or 7 throughout the season, we're going to have to build budget early doors. And and sometimes that does mean sacrificing a few points. Again, Kamada, he's not going to go down the much.
No, yeah, for a £2 million player.
At 2 million, he's not expected to do anything. Will Isak go down with a 6? He might just hold at 5 million.
I think he might get away with it, yeah.
But then, yeah, if I was to get Kamada out, I'd have to sacrifice somebody who may hold or go up in price. Early thoughts is possibly Szoboszlai and Kamada. But we'll touch on that after.
Yeah. For me, Sells in goal. That's quite gut. There's another one I was listening on the radio on the way up to the Cotswolds, but I've really enjoyed listening, having the talk sport on with the 3 o'clocks. But yeah, I think that did they concede one that was offside?
Yeah.
And then as soon as I heard it was ruled out, we was all cheering in the car. and then yeah, the goal came late, didn't it, and wiped that out. So that was a bit disappointing. But 3 points, not terrible. Similar backline to you. So Hall with the clean sheet. Robinson doing exactly what we sort of said when we were talking about picking him. Really, it's like if you get the clean sheet, it's a bonus. But he's decent for bonus points and tackles. He didn't actually get any bonus, but come away with a ton of tackles, didn't he? In this one,
8 tackles, wasn't it?
Yeah, 8 tackles. I think he got a couple mysterious tackles added on overnight, but they all count. And the same as Vardiol as well. He was another one that I wasn't quite sure on whether I wanted to start with a Trent and then move to a Vardiol for Ipswich. But in the end, I just thought I kind of don't want to just set this team up, and then at least if there's any surprises, I can react to it. Yeah. If there's not, I'm set up for later. So, I was pleased with that clean sheet and the bonus. Eze was unlucky, really unlucky. It seemed like it was just a mistake on the referee's part, wasn't it? Really, that free kick didn't count.
I mean, it's tricky. It's tricky. He looks like he's going to swing the ball in. So the referee is watching what's going on the edge of the box. He sees them grappling. He sees one of them go down. He blows his whistle. He's not even looking at Eze. He doesn't know he's just had an amazing effort.
Yeah.
Clever. He had everything. But once he's blown his whistle, he's blown it. He can't go back and say, well, no, actually, it's not a free kick now, because they can't change that. His cleverness has been too advanced for the referee.
It did look good though.
I'm pretty certain that they caught many of the refs out. I mean,
you see it given all the time on corners, don't you? They always blow the whistle when there's shirt pulling and stuff like that. So he's
not expecting Eze to go from there.
Yeah, but overall he looked pretty dangerous, so it could have come away with a lot more. Saka, same as you, brilliant again, goal and assist, combining with Havertz for both. Yeah. The only one, I think the only disappointment I've had this week is Gibbs White with just the 2 points. Quickly had a click on him to see if he'd got any PPM or any sort of tackles or anything, but all round seemed like he had a quiet game, really. Didn't do much at all.
Not liking that.
Yeah, but I kind of don't want to panic on it. Like, these sort of players that average sort of 4 and 5, they'll have a 2. Then the next week they could have a decent one. So I don't want to just pull the trigger on it too early just because it's a 2 now with a double game week coming up next week. Yeah. So I'm actually thinking of maybe sort of beating the price drop on that if it's a 0.1 or a 0.2.
Yeah.
Probably where I've had a better week all round. McNeil, I mean, just about gets away with it with 4 points. He's a £3 million player, so probably stays around the same again. A couple of tackles, bonus points. He hit the post, so it could have been. It was a 1-on-1. He should have done better, really. But yeah, overall Everton rubbish, but all right job. And then it's a double again. And then the same front three as everyone, but it was the Salah captaincy that seemed to pay off. But Haaland was the number one captain player, wasn't he? With just loading it up, 27% captained Haaland, 10% went Salah, and 8.6 went Isak. I thought Isak was going to be more captained than that. He seemed like the trendy captaincy on other games. I was surprised actually that he wasn't more highly capped. But yeah, decent week for us. Let us know in the comments what you guys are up to. I'm thinking of rolling, which I know sounds bonkers because I don't think I did it all last season. Yeah. But I'll come to the fixture ticker in a minute. It's just that on this odd case, I kind of feel like the extra information could just be worth it. Because if I roll this one, I could have 3. We'll find out the next lot of Carabao Cup matches. Yeah. And we'll also know who draws who in Europe.
Yeah.
So, because the way I was looking at it, like moving towards the Champions League in game week 4, the cheapest way in is going to be Villa, for example.
Yeah.
Start bringing Villa players in now. You don't know who they're going to draw. They could get their hardest match in game week 1.
It's true.
And I mean, you've also had like the Digne starting left back over Maatsen. You could bring players in now, and you don't know fully whether they're actually going to play Europe. So I'm pretty happy as it is. But we'll come on to some questions, and then we'll sort of integrate our teams, I think, into that.
Yeah.
Leave a like on the video if you can. Subscribe if you're not already. If you're listening later on, we're just with our Patreon members at the minute. I think we're close to 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. So appreciate any subs if you can. DT Philip up first. So pretty broad one. What players to target in game week 2? We've obviously got Carabao Cup this week and Premier League. But the Carabao Cup is a cup full of mystery this week.
Yeah.
Without seeing lineups. Shall we blast through? I'll get the fixture ticker up, and if there's any sort of teams of interest, and maybe who?
Yeah.
Just real quickly, because you could do a whole pod on this.
Yeah, I mean, you could, and we could be talking absolute nonsense because we have no idea who is going to play their full strength teams, half strength teams. They might put the kids out. You don't know. I think they were the lineups. I think we went through on the pre-season pod that initially a lot of teams put out quite strong lineups. Whether that's you want to get players up to speed, don't you? Like they say that you're not fit until you're playing games, and match fitness is different to training all week. So a lot of these teams might put out strong lineups just to get everyone hitting the ground running and ready for the third game of the season, the Premier League. I always think, I don't know whether this is true, I don't know, it just always feels like it, but when you get, say, Newcastle v Notts Forest, you get the Premier League teams going together, I always feel like they do put a bit of a stronger side out.
Even if it's like a bit of a mixture.
Yeah, possibly like a 50-60% main team, and then just drop in a few that they want to get some miles into the legs. Like, so if I was to target any, it would be them. Obviously, like I say, the Newcastle boys. Again, you're looking at like teams that have masses of options, especially in the attacking areas. They're probably going to make 3 changes. They'll change the striker up. They'll change the wingers up. So you got to look out for that.
So will you keep you surely would keep your Newcastle boys for Bournemouth away, Forest away, wouldn't you?
One thing with Bruno G is I know Tonali's back, for that game.
I think so.
That cup game. I think that's his first game back, so he's definitely going to start. Tonali comes in for Bruno G, doesn't he? And they'll probably play along Staff or a Miley alongside. I can't see him playing Bruno G.
He normally plays a ton of games, though, doesn't he? But yeah, it's just whether or not they need him to right now.
Yeah, but with it being Forest, Newcastle, one of these sides. Newcastle, I always put alongside Spurs with the there's pressure on them to win this trophy. They've not won a trophy in a long time. So they've got to take these competitions seriously. Whether they do, I don't know. But
and you've got Palace, you've got Kamada, sorry.
Yeah.
Home West Ham, home Norwich. I don't think, I know the price rise is going to be the bit that comes into your thinking, but I think I'd be trying to give him minutes, maybe a little bit of confidence. Maybe they've got Saar, haven't they? Who's just joined.
Yeah,
as well.
This is in my thinking. You wouldn't. So he plays against West Ham, has a good game, or if he has a crap game, are you going to drop him for that Norwich game? Yeah. You're trying to introduce him to English football. Maybe better off giving him that run, giving the Norwich game as well.
Eze probably gets the rest in the cup, doesn't he? You got to wrap him up.
Yeah, main man, especially with Elise going. He really does need looking after because obviously he's had quite a few injuries as well himself. Tricky.
I don't fancy them Bournemouth fixtures. Newcastle home, West Ham away. I don't quite fancy that, I don't think. I know Semenyo got his goal, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, we spoke about Semenyo beforehand, and he was a decent little option. Obviously, with Slanky leaving, they've just spent a huge amount of money on a striker, haven't they?
Yeah, I wonder if he'll be ready. I wonder if he'll be ready maybe for the cup game. Maybe that could be a first one to throw him in for.
Yeah, so I'm thinking even Semenyo will probably drop out for that West Ham game.
Yeah,
because they'll probably play the likes of Sinistera, the new lad up top. I can't think of his name. They've got quite a lot of options wide. So it's gonna be a bit of a lottery.
Kudus could be one, but then again they've got their own new signings as well that they can throw in. Yeah, it is going to be a lottery, really. I do think, but I've got obviously McNeil, and he wasn't available to play the first round because he was injured, but he played a lot of the games after that in the cup. They had a little bit of a run.
Yeah,
I quite fancy keeping hold of him. And the same for Gibbs White. Maybe if he hasn't had the best start, they might try and give him that Newcastle game. He normally gets good minutes.
Yeah.
Any others that stand out? We were talking a lot of chat in the Discord today about Brighton because obviously they started really well. They've got United and then they've got Crawley, which looks a nice one on paper, but I think they're going to rotate the whole team basically for that.
Yeah, I think that is probably what Brighton will do. But new manager, we don't know. We don't really know with that. Brighton, good side. They just seem, I don't know where they pull these players and managers from, but they're always impressing.
That new Minte looked good from what I saw. He's unlucky to go off of concussion protocol, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I did hear that he could maybe miss just for like protective measures or whatever, he might miss the next Prem game.
Yeah.
If he ends up having to miss that, but then getting Crawley and you've got that Minte in your team, that could get nasty.
But nobody will have him then, will they?
I'd be hanging on if I had him, I think, for that. What about your boy Cunha for Wolves? The Chelsea home, Burnley home.
If I knew he were playing the Burnley game, I'd throw him in.
The reason I say because he started on the bench and then came on in the 57th, I think it was, in the league. I wonder if he doesn't start the next league, maybe he gets minutes plus a Burnley start, maybe.
Yeah, but then again, the way Burnley have started the season, Burnley will probably turn them over. Again, it's a lottery. I think I'm going to base my transfers, if I make them, on price rises. Rises plus if I can bring in players that could possibly get that second game or get half an hour in that second game, then they're the ones I probably look at. So just a loose a loose option would be Slobozlai and Kamada out, and Semenyo and Mitoma in.
Yeah.
Probably 2 guaranteed 0.3 price rises, so it's 0.6 million. They might, Semenyo and Mitoma might get some minutes in the next game, and then I've got 0.6 extra to move, say, a Mitoma onto a 4.1 midfielder. Give me a bit of extra.
That's what I think is sort of good. If you are going for it, you're not in a terrible position if you have to keep Mitoma a week longer, or if you have to keep Semenyo a week longer. The ones that I'm not so sure on is if you're punting just for the cup, and then they haven't got anything good going on afterwards.
Yeah, no, you've got to be probably another week in it. It was seemed last season to plan for 2 weeks, which seems really short-sighted. But
well, you got to here because game week 2 to game week 4 is the difference between Carabao to the Champions League, isn't it?
Yeah, but then obviously game week 4, if your team's got through, they've got another Carabao Cup game, so it's kind of like takes the edge off it, where you can move over to the Champions League teams a little bit slower. Obviously, I'd like to have more City players in. I don't think it's that essential at the minute. If they give Ipswich a right good hiding, it's the possibility of City going hard in on Ipswich and getting some decent price rises across the whole team.
There's just as much chance that you get a City player for 1 week and against Ipswich and they outscore any of these double game week guys.
Yeah, there is.
What do you think of Doku potentially for this week?
He looked good. He played full 90 minutes, didn't he? He only come out with a 6, I think he got, didn't he?
Yeah, it was one mark off of maximum bonus though.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. You're involved in everything. He's unbelievable. Again, there needs to be more though. End product
needs the goal. Like Kudus has got that bonus and the goals and assists as well, hasn't he? That's
but both brilliant, both great options. Obviously, Doku's $1 million cheaper.
Well, that's not the only thing I was thinking. I don't think I'll do it, but like I can probably find a 0.5 to get Gibbs White up to Doku, and then maybe drop someone by 0.5. Wouldn't be too terrible to do. With Doku, it's not like you're getting a Champions League guy for game week 4, but you're still not guaranteeing you're going to get the 2 games in game week 4, are you really? When it's City, so
that's the trouble with City. Obviously, probably depending on Grealish, isn't it?
He was
Grealish had a good pre-season. Obviously, something happened first week. He missed the Community Shield as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a knock. He was on the bench again. The only reason I was part thinking that as well was because that Savinho, he looked good to start with, but then he went off at half-time injured. Foden came on. So I just thought that's one less body. But there is still a lot. There's still a lot of options, though. Too early for Foden?
I think so, because I think he'll go down this week.
True, yeah.
And if he doesn't perform against Ipswich, or he doesn't get, I mean, they could win 5-0 and Foden might not be involved in much. Because the goals can come from anywhere, and then he could be going down again. I don't think he's someone I'd need to throw in this week, or
Right, so question 2, are we targeting price rises or fixtures in the first couple of game weeks? We have sort of touched on it.
Yeah, it's a mixture. It's tough to target the doubles because you don't know who's going to play. If I'm bringing any players in, I won't be bringing any players in that are going to fall. I'd go for the price rises initially.
I think, again, it depends on what sort of week, because it's kind of easy for me to be saying, I'm not that bothered about price changes, but you've had a good week, so naturally your team's probably going to hold the prices, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it does depend on your team. If you've had a bad week and you've got quite a few players that might go down, you might want to try and be a bit savvy with it. But I wouldn't want to target price rises just for the sake of it. Like I wouldn't bring in a player that I wouldn't want just because of the price changes. That's all I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we did spend loads of time picking these players, and nobody picked a team for game week 1 only. I don't think. Like Gordon is the example that's going to come up again, but like just because he had a bad week this week, and he might go down, doesn't mean to say he's not going to do really well next week.
Yeah.
If Eze had got 2 points this week, but was that unlucky, you can't take him out just because he's going to go down. Well, I wouldn't anyway.
No, I mean he could have scored a couple.
It is really important. The budget building is really, really important. But yeah, I think you've got to want the player as well.
Yeah.
Going into game week 2, you'll have 7 Carabao Cup players and 4 European. Would you be looking at bringing in 2 more players with a European fixture this week? Or if not, would you be happy going into European fixtures with only 9 players?
No, you've got plenty. You've still got 6 transfers before.
I think that's the same setup as me. So I've got Sells, Hall, Robinson, Eze, Gibbs, White, McNeil, Isak. So that's same situation. So 7, and then my European players are all Champions League, though. That is one thing I would say. But I was thinking, this was before I thought about rolling. I can use 2 more to get the players in, and then you got another 2. That would set me up with 8, I think.
No, because you got another 2 before 4, haven't you?
Not if I make them this week, sorry. So I didn't plan to make any.
All right, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, because I wanted to leave it till Carabao Cup is out of the way. Sorry. So then add 2 a week. So you could add 2 in game week 3, 2 in game week 4, and that would set me up with 8.
Yeah.
If I rolled the transfer this week, I'd have 3 next week, so I could get to 9. I thought that was plenty. The keeper's not that useful anyway, I don't think.
No.
I think that's it. I think that's fine. I know people have gone a different way about it, but I don't necessarily think he needs to bring the 2 European in this week.
No, definitely not a necessity.
Especially if it's moving out someone that could have a double. I know it's not guaranteed, but yeah, no. I think you'd have plenty, even if you started moving them in the week after. Yeah, I've seen people disagree with that online, but I don't think you're going to have 11 Champions League players. And then if you look at that fixture ticker as well, for game week 4, you will have the Champions League, but you'll also have the people that win in the Carabao Cup, plus Man United, Tottenham and Chelsea entering the Carabao Cup as well.
Yeah.
So it's not Champions League or nothing.
So there's going to be doubles everywhere. Yeah.
As long as all your sort of Carabao players didn't get eliminated, I think you'll be fine. Jordan Jackson, what team surprised you most on the opening weekend?
I thought Fulham looked good. Mm-hmm. But to be fair, it must be every time I watch Fulham, they look good. So yeah, they put on a good performance at United. He's touched on there and Boomo. Obviously, Tony weren't in the squad. I think he's trying to sort out a move to Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. I mean, they just need rid of him now. But Brentford, they played really well against a good Palace side. Brentford looked good on the counter attack and on the changeover. They looked really nice. Like that. Is it Kevin Shard?
Yeah, Sharder. Yeah.
I think he's only like 2 million. I know he only got 3 points, but he put in a load of dangerous balls. He was great on counter attack. He looked dangerous, and Boomer were good. Vissa good. Yeah, Brentford and Fulham, I'd say, were the standout performances.
Yeah, that's a bit of a cop-out answer, but I when you look at the results and the performances, I think it was a pretty straightforward opening weekend, really, wasn't it? There wasn't any
Yeah.
sort of massive upsets or anything. No, not any real surprises. Like you said, I thought Fulham were good on the opening night. Probably a little bit unlucky.
Yeah.
But no, I think everyone looked a little bit. It did look like it was the first weekend back. I know
It did.
Even watching Arsenal play out, there's a few iffy moments there. And watching the highlight on a few other games, there was a few dodgy moments from everyone. I think it seemed like.
Yeah, Liverpool playing out from back was.
Yeah, there's a few shaky moments.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that's how it goes in it this early. No one really surprised us. That, do you know what? I do think Brighton did really well, but I do think the 3-0 was maybe a little bit flattering because Everton started okay, and then they had that, was it the VAR call that didn't go their way? That they seemed to wind themselves up a little bit with a few things that didn't go right. But no, other than that, I don't think it was anything too major to start off with. Nathan Reeve, this is one for you. So is Kamada a hold for this weekend after his poor start? And then, well, we'll do the second part after. Start with that.
I'm not sure. As I just touched on about how I could move Szoboszlai and Kamada to Matoma and Semenyo. Obviously, Kamada may play both games, but he might not because he's got quite a few options on the bench, Palace, in those positions. So I think they might change the front three for that Carabao Cup game. Semenyo may play. Matoma may play. Szoboszlai obviously doesn't have the second game. I'll be guaranteeing myself a 0.6 rise against maybe possibly a 0.2 loss or a 0.1 loss. So I think it depends on the whole makeup of your team. If you've got some big hitters maybe that didn't do great and you're thinking they're going to drop 0.3, 0.2, I think I'd tidy them up before Kamada. He's not going to hurt you and he might have a double.
I think I'd hold him. I feel like one game is not enough, and it isn't.
And you look, you know, he looked all right. It's a poor start points wise with the yellow card. The yellow card was just a professional foul, just stopping a breakaway. Someone has to do it. He looked all right, and I think he's the man that the manager's brought in to like glue that midfield and strike force together. So I think he's going to be one of the main men there alongside Eze.
Yeah, I just think I know it's sort of maybe a bit of an unknown sort of quantity, but I think give him another week. I'd say at least. Like I'm looking at it from the Gibbs White point of view, but we've obviously seen quite a lot of Gibbs White previous, but he's done bad for me this week. But I'm thinking in a double game week, you could still do all right. I just don't think one game is kind of enough. But yeah, if you watched the full game, you thought he looked completely useless or whatever. I mean, you could go for it, but you have to remember these people. Like he is a £2 million player. They're not going to be consistent scorers as much as you like them. I didn't think there was that many impressive. You know, we were talking about a lot of the budget players who could go off, who might not. Rodgers probably. I thought he did look good. I thought he looked good, but didn't really deliver the points. Smith Rowe was kind of what we expected. He was okay, but he just didn't have the minutes. Didn't look fully fit still.
Yeah.
And then I'm surprised by the second part of your question because I'm not sure about whether to keep Kamada or not. And then the second part of the question is thoughts on Emil Kraft as a 1 week, 1.5 million punt, with him probably starting Bournemouth away and Forest away in the cup game with Sharby and Band. But I think you could quite easily find yourself just doing that same, just hopping about the cheaper players and then being stuck with a similar problem. It might be all right as a 1 week, sort of a 1 week punt, but then that's your move out. If he does well, you're going to want to keep him, aren't you?
Yeah.
If he doesn't, it's another transfer again, I think. So if you can maybe move on to someone that you think you want to keep a bit longer.
You're definitely booking a transfer back out because he's not going to last that long. I don't know if they're appealing Shaw's red card,
I don't know.
So there's a possibility that I think within the rule book, with a head-to-head, it's not just a straight red card. It's got to be force. It's got to be a force within the contact. So obviously there wasn't much force, so he might get away with it, which I put paid to that, Kraft. But he got 7 points. He might go up. I think he's probably a definite for the cup game. And if Shaw doesn't get it overturned, he will probably have a double game week, possibly a 0.2 rise. I think he got 7 points. Yeah, I don't dislike it. I don't dislike it, but obviously the following week you will be having to move him on, and not only will you be booking that one transfer in to try and upgrade him, you're going to have to use the other transfer on another player to try and get that extra value to put him
Get
up
a bit
to
more
player.
money in there.
Yeah, so you're kind of booking 2 transfers in there, and if you were happy with the rest of your team, you won't be wanting to do it. But yeah,
I don't love it, but maybe needs must if you have to. It's maybe not the worst one, but I'm not sure.
Kamada's not going to go down, is he? He's not going to go down that much. So if you're on about doing Kamada to Kraft, you'll get the rise. You'll avoid that slight fall, but longer term, Kamada's, if you've seen his positioning over the weekend, 2 million for a player that is literally in the box for Crystal Palace. They've got a very talented side. They're going to score plenty of goals this season.
And that's the manager's man. He's just signed. Yeah. Like, he's not going to game one. He's not as fickle as us. He's not going to go, Joe, he had a bad game week 1. Not going to play him again. Yeah. He's going to try his best to make that one work, isn't he?
And he didn't have a bad game. He had a bad game in Dream Team wise, but I don't think the manager's looking at the bonus points that he didn't get.
No.
So, like you say, he's not a young lad. I think he's 28, 29-year-old. He knows the manager. He's experienced. He's come from a decent league. He'll do all right.
Stephen W's question, the next one up, says Matoma looked outstanding versus Everton. Non-penalty XG of 1.12. Are you tempted at 3.5 million, given some tough fixtures and Brighton having so many wingers? This is one I considered because, obviously, like I said, I've got Gibbs White, 3.5, and you've had both Matoma and Mbuemo do well this week, so probably get rises. But it's considering that, weighing that up with the fixtures, because that, like you said, the fixtures look hard there for Brighton. You bring Matoma in for his rise, but then it's Man United. He probably doesn't play Crawley. And then it's Arsenal away. There is Ipswich at home in Game Week 4, which you'd probably keep him for.
Yeah. And a possible Carabao Cup game.
But whether or not he plays the Carabao would depend on what sort of draw they get, I guess, again. But I don't, in my scenario, I could keep my player that's probably going to drop for Southampton. Where is it? Southampton away, which looks probably a better fixture. I'm thinking of sucking up the price decrease maybe for the better fixture, and then hope it carries on. But what do you think?
Matoma's not a surprise to us, is he? I mean,
no.
He's been unbelievable since he went to Brighton. He's always been a good option in Dream Team as well. Obviously, he had that bad injury, out for quite a while. Just come back this season, so I don't think it was like people not speaking about him because like nobody knew about him or they didn't think he could do what he does, but he's just obviously coming back from that injury and seeing that. But he's obviously come back flying. He's probably got a 0.3 rise there, hasn't he, Matoma? 3 tackles, 3 shots on target, a bonus point. I like it. I like him as an option. I wouldn't be scared of the Arsenal game, really. He could probably still come out of something with that. United.
Score against United.
Yeah, Brighton could turn United over.
And
If he
Thomas
gets,
actually had a good record against us. He's done well against us.
I mean, you do have a lot of wingers, but he's the main man in here. When he were in that team the other year, he was the main one.
We've got to give him a fresh start as well. The new manager. We're still stuck in De Zerbi mode.
Yeah,
I know I know rotation normally comes with the territory in Carabao, but he may not rotate these players as much as we think.
No, I mean, he might go, look, over the years you've seen which teams have won the Carabao Cup, which teams get far in the competition, and for teams like Brighton, Crystal Palace, Notts Forest, obviously you've got Gibbs White, Wolves, all these teams. This is a chance to win a trophy. You're not going to be doing much else. You might get into Europe, but Champions League is probably out of reach. Go and win a trophy for your fans. So they should go strong.
Yeah, I do like him as a pick for sure. I do think those fixtures are quite tough, but he's someone that you're not going to be too disappointed if you have to have Matoma for an extra week.
And plus, he'd probably go up to 3.8.
Yeah.
If he has a crap week, then you know what I mean. You might move on to somebody else. The next fancy thing from that game week.
What about captaincy for next week? So
yeah,
I feel like normally we'd be trying our luck with a doubler. I think it doesn't. I think it doesn't get any better than Haaland home, the newly promoted, does it?
I think if you was going to take the risk, you would probably have, say, eight doublers who might play, and then Haaland, and then you play your max captain.
Oh, I didn't consider that actually.
But that is if you want to take that punt so early. I mean, and then if Haaland does have a little bit of a wobble against Ipswich, he only gets a goal, say. But then you have someone who smashed it over 2 games. You could have a really nice haul in your hands. But I think the sensible play, especially this early in the season, is Haaland captain against Ipswich at home. I think as he's seen, we the amount of chances Liverpool ended up creating, they could score 5 or 6, and he's a bit of an animal in here, Haaland. He's not going to do much else, but he gets a chance and puts it back at net.
Yeah, it's a horrible way of thinking. It's a horrible way of thinking about it. But again, I can't not get out of my head like what it's like to miss out on those Haaland hauls.
Yeah, when he scores 4 or 5 goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a brave man that goes for one of these doubles this week. So early in the season. If we were talking about a European double or I don't know, a quarter final in one of the cups, we'd probably talk you into a double game week player, but not this early into the Carabao Cup second round.
Yeah, no, I think I'm in agreement. It'd be Haaland for me, I think. Yeah, early, no unnecessary risks, I think.
Yeah.
Bradders, would you target double game week for transfers or City players for Ipswich? And is it worth just transferring players in for the double game week if we're going to replace them the week after? So we did sort of say, I mean...
Yeah, I think we rode over that,
I do think the City lads could easily outscore some of these doublers, especially if they don't definitely even get the 2 games. So, yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with targeting that City Ipswich game. What would you say on the second part? Is it worth transferring in players for the Carabao Cup just to replace them the week after?
I mean, for a price rise, like I've just touched on, I said against Semenyo and Matoma, players like that they might get that second game, but then you're happy to maybe have them the week after as well. I wouldn't be just... There's nobody to target for this game week in double game weeks, really, because we have no idea. Isak could play both games. I don't think they've got a fit striker, have they? Wilson weren't on bench at weekend.
No. Osula, the new guy they signed, was on the bench, I think.
Oh, well, fair enough then.
I don't know if they would
start. Did he get any minutes in the...
No, but they were a man down, weren't they as well? Yeah. Then maybe the best is to treat it as a maybe target one of those doublers, but treat it as a single. If you'd be happy bringing them in for a single, go it that way, and then anything extra is a bonus kind of thing, maybe.
Yeah, I'd look at it as look at it game week 2, game week 3 together. You have to know that the people that you bring in, because there might be injuries elsewhere in your team. You can't target single weeks, but you can just look at like it as a 2-week game. Be happy to have them that next week as well.
We've already seen like this week, early season, the things that can happen, like Barco, whatever his name was straight away not an option now.
Yeah.
Kwanzaa, we saw the lineups, and if you went Kwanzaa, I didn't get him on this, but I had him in other formats. You saw the lineups, you're like, great, this is brilliant. And then all of a sudden, new managers subbing centre backs at half time for tactical reasons.
Yeah.
you think you'd never see. So, yeah.
Stealing his clean sheet.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably better to not plan in hop on, hop offs too early until we start to get a feel for things, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I've missed the joke from Graham. Who is your priority transfer target apart from Mitchell?
Yeah, I've missed that one. It's gone on my head. I think there's something going on in the Discord there.
I was so out of the loop of the Discord at the weekend where I was away. I think I've missed the joke there. Sorry, Graham. He normally gives me a bit. There's some dark humor there for me. Best options at 3.5 and less, preferably mids or defenders. We've done Matoma.
And Bumo, Semenyo, nice rises. They've got 0.3 rises coming their way, surely.
Yeah, they're the two I put down, and then I didn't think that price point has actually got that much that I like the look of, to be honest. Munoz, maybe if you haven't got him already.
Yeah.
Palace defender.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't have much else at that price point, unfortunately. Maybe move 2 players around, get up to 4, get a Doku perhaps. I mean, I've got my Gibbs White I'm giving another go, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit alarmed.
Yeah.
Most engaged managers, this is from Nobbles, most engaged managers seem to have a front three of Haaland, Salah, Isak. Are they locked for now? And if not, who and when do you think it will change?
I think they are locked for now, aren't they? Let's just get the fixture.
Oh yeah, I'll
list up there.
There you go.
For Newcastle, obviously they've got the double this week, then Spurs, Wolves, then another. Obviously they beat Forest, then they've still got the Carabao Cup the week after that. So Isak is pretty much nailed through, unless the risk is, like as we were saying, how we're planning through these weeks. Early doors first, probably, I don't know, 7-8 game weeks, we really are concentrating on budget. And to get it built, sometimes you have to drop some of these big hitters out. I know Ben suffered last year with keeping Fernandes and Rashford a little bit too long. And the prices dropped off a cliff. It were unbelievable. I think he'd lost something like 2.5 million just over them 2 players, like 6 or 7 game weeks in. So it shows how like it's so important to build early doors. So if Isak had a stinker, he wouldn't be locked in. I'd easily get rid of him. I think Solanke looked good.
Yeah.
For Spurs, he looks like he's going to be at the forefront of a lot of their work. Very good target.
He was one of the names I put down for around game week 3 into game week 4. So if I went game week 3, I'm looking at Villa with Leicester away, Everton, and then in game week 4 when Champions League starts, Everton at home with a Champions League match. I think that looks like a nice move to Watkins maybe off Isak.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of green on the fixture ticker there. Wolves, Ipswich, and then they'll have quite a few European games. So I think that could be one for Isak to Watkins. That's kind of why I'm looking if I can get free transfers going into game week 3. Might be cool. Might help me find that extra million for him, or unless he goes down a bit more. Or I know they've got the Newcastle fixture, Spurs, and game week 4 is Arsenal, and they'll have the Carabao. But if you leave it to maybe 5, Brentford, and then they start Europe, that could be Solanke time maybe.
Yeah.
Or Son if he's doing better.
Yeah.
I think Isak's probably going to be the one that's easier to get rid of out of Salah and Haaland if they carry on playing well.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of options in this game. There's a lot of premiums you can't have. We've not even touched on like Foden, De Bruyne.
Yeah, Salah or Haaland's probably going to have one of them. It's probably not going to be Haaland, but one of them two is probably going to have to give if you're going to want Foden, Palmer.
De Bruyne.
Yeah. If
Watkins
one of them starts going off, we'll panic, won't we?
Yep. It's there's a lot of options and a lot of way to points. And I think that's when we touched at the very start about you saying that our teams are quite different, but we've both scored high. I think it just shows that there's a very big spread of points throughout the whole game.
Patrick, who do I drop out of Jota and Isak to make way for Haaland? This was always going to be the struggle of not starting with him, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, if that's just a straight swap, I'd like to know if Patrick has Salah. Does he have Salah as well? If you've got Salah, then it's definitely Yacht out. If you don't have Salah, I'd take Yacht out. I just think, obviously, Isak's got the double.
I'm just quickly scrolling through the leagues to see if I can
try and find his team. He's up near the top, isn't he?
I don't think I'm quick enough.
He's up at top. Here we go. I'll find him.
You got him?
I'm sure he's up top of the tag team somewhere.
What did I put? I said I'd probably drop Jota for Haaland. Just where Isak's got the pens and he's got the 2 fixtures this week potentially versus the 1. But Jota did look good, didn't he, in that game?
He did. Look dangerous.
Could have easily gotten the end of that cross from Trent as well. Would have been double trouble. No, I can't see him. We'll have to ask him in the Discord.
Where's he gone? I'm sure he was top 1 at leagues. Yeah.
If he's not top, he might not have Salah. Oh, here you go. I found him. He's got Salah, but he captained Isak.
Yeah, get Yacht out.
Oh, 87 points. He's had a good week. Yeah, if you've got Salah, make way Jota, I reckon.
Yeah.
Nathan Reeve, I have Kamada and Kudus coming up against each other this weekend, and Henderson. With it being early days, would you guys be looking to move on players that come up against each other?
No, I wouldn't worry about it.
I don't think that makes a difference. 2 midfielders. If you had like a couple defenders versus an attacker or something, but I don't think they don't influence each other at all, do they really?
No, I mean, it's a different game now, isn't it? We all the bonus points and the play performance marks. You can get points from anywhere. So, yeah, I really wouldn't take that into consideration.
No, ideal scenario. You could end up with quite a few saves still, even if Kudus does well.
Yeah.
Solo Higgins, pretty standard template. 6 Carabao, 5 Europe. Tempted to roll the transfers. Is it viable? I know why it's a question, because I never did it all last week. Last week, all last season. But
Yep, same. I never did it last season either. I think, obviously, looking at that team, Higgins, it's Murphy was the mate, weren't he, for the red card? He got hooked, which was a shame because after his pre-season as well, it was a shame. But it does look like that he'll probably then get both games now, which could really play into Murphy owners' hands, really.
Yeah, that was unlucky, when it really he was the fall guy from the card.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that side, I don't think there's any threat of price drops other than possibly Murphy a little bit, but I think you're pretty much safe, and there's nothing wrong with rolling them transfers.
Well, it's similar to we've got Andy's question. I have to come back to Patrick's, but Andy's question there is: if you had Murphy in your team, would you keep him for this double game week or take him out using one of your 2 transfers? Again, I feel like we could come back to what we said a bit, but if you picked Murphy for game week 1,
and you picked him for game week 2,
and you thought he was a good pick, he didn't just become a bad pick. Whether or not you thought he was a good pick to start with is a different matter, but you picked him because he had a good pre-season, he was scoring goals, you thought he was going to start, and he did start. You just got unlucky with a red card, so I'd be keeping him, because you kick yourself if he scores this week. I know you do have the price drops, but you picked him for a reason, I think.
I think out of all the doublers, I think he is now probably one of the most nailed players that you think he's going to get both them games. For that reason, I wouldn't take him out.
Probably we got Gordon, Barnes, and him. Sort of, they might sort of some start one game and then go off at 70 and then play some in the other. 70 minutes and 20 minutes, or.
I think they'll start with the same team that started against Southampton and go again.
Yeah,
because of its first game of the season.
That was a write-off.
There's no chance they can. It's not Murphy's fault, is it? He deserves the start and the chance again after his pre-season. So
Hal will probably be saying that to him as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I would be keeping if I started with him, I'd still be seeing it through, I think. And then Patrick says, if you were playing 12th man this week, this double game week, who would be your tips?
12th man. I honestly, I wouldn't be touching my chips this week at all. I know the question says if you were, so I've got to give it an answer on that. I'd put a City player in, De Bruyne or Foden, someone against Ipswich,
just for the
one game, because I don't like going into any City game. I don't care who they're against. I don't like going into it with just Haaland, but we've got to be able to afford these City lads. You got to build
Vardy on your team for that one.
Trying to work Vardy in at 4.5 million. He's probably going to go up to 4.8.
Yeah,
and he's somebody I am scared of not owning in the long run. So he is obviously with that Ipswich game. I think he's got a clean sheet and possibly an attacking return in his locker for that game. So at 4.5, again, if I were to bring Vardy in, I'd probably have to go 5 at the back.
Not ideal.
I'd probably have to take Szoboszlai and Kamada out and do Kraft and Vardy.
Yeah, talking of
in fact, I won't be able to do that, would I? Because I'd leave with 2 midfielders. So
it's hard. It is a hard one because you do want that City game does look good. I'd be more inclined to try and get another City player in my team if I was going to do anything. If I was playing 12th man, disclaimer, I wouldn't. I would wait to Europe. It's so close. You get a dub. You wait another 2 weeks and you can get a 12th man that could play twice, I think.
Yeah.
But if you had to, maybe Kudus or Bowen. because they face City the week after that. So if you want a 1 week punt on them, and then don't have to keep them, maybe Cunha or Huang. Don't mind them as both two sort of attacking players who do quite well for Wolves. Or João Pedro. I know he won't probably start both of them. He's someone that does a lot when he's on the pitch, even if it's a short period of time. So even if he gets a little bench appearance against Crawley, could see him doing quite well in that if he does get some minutes. But yeah, overall, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
We've done Murphy, Nathan, Wisby, Bruno Fernandes to Foden, take a 0.2, 0.3 price drop, or Bruno Fernandes to Matoma and Buemo or Vardiol and gain the 0.2, 0.3. What do you reckon?
He didn't do that bad, did he, Fernandes? I mean, 6 points.
This is the thing where the price. I know why we do it. I know why we need the price rises. I feel like this is the thing where feel like if you looked at that Man United game, I thought Bruno Fernandes was really promising and a really good game.
Oh, he should have scored a couple.
And he scores one of them. Everyone's saying he's essential this week.
Yeah.
But now he isn't, and the price is coming down. You start to think differently and pick players or take players out that you might have wanted to keep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the game's fault. Like, it's the way the game is.
It is. I mean, you could take Bruno out this week for one of them, for Vardiol, for example, and that will be a possible 0.5 swing, 0.4. And then obviously Bruno does drop 0.2, 0.3. You fancy him for the week after, you can bring him in a little bit cheaper. But if he has another stinker, are you going to want to bring him in? It's difficult. It really is. I just think you do have to keep an eye on it. Anybody that's going to drop 0.3, I would like to be moving on 0.2, 0.3. We don't know how aggressive these moves are going to be this season still.
It's Liverpool.
First time.
It's Liverpool the week after the Brighton game as well. So it's like,
it's tough for United. They didn't look great against Fulham. So for me, if it was my team and I had Bruno in my team, he got 6 points. Is it a 0.1, 0.2 drop, I would say? Vardy over a 0.3 rise, and the game against Ipswich, I'd probably be snapping your hand off at that.
It'd be Vardy that I would do as well, looking at that.
Yeah, definitely.
He's the one I'm looking at there. I think that he, in this next match, could probably outscore. I won't be doing Foden for the drop, I don't think.
No,
especially
definitely not.
We're not 100% sure what minutes he'll get yet.
Yeah, because he might just start and get 60.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're easing him back in. Especially if City are 3-4 up, then you're going to see changes.
As well, you go Vardiol, you're not losing you're not getting stuck with a player that you might not want later.
Yeah.
If you get Matoma and Buemo, I don't know whether you'd have wanted them without the price changes. Is all I would say. He's in the chat now, so I hope that helps, Nathan. It just annoys me a little bit. Like, it's no one's fault. It's just the way the game is made. But I don't like the game with the price changes. The fact that it's making us this part of the season, it's making us pick the players we don't necessarily always want.
Yeah,
or take players out that we would like to keep. Chris Stone, thoughts on taking out Gordon to avoid the price drop? It's a similar scenario.
Yeah.
Again, you risk that he could score okay in the double game week, probably gets minutes both to get his fitness up. I do think I'd keep Gordon.
Yeah, I would. Even if it's just for the league game. I don't think he will get minutes in the cup game, but yeah, keep him for that league game.
He's a good pick.
Just while you finish that off, I'm sorry, but I am going to have to fly and have a piss.
Yeah, no worries.
1 second.
We've got a few in the chat as well. Let me find these guys. Say hello to a few of the late joiners as well. We caught you out. We said 8:05. We were a little bit early. So Miss Noopy, good evening. Mr. H. I shouted you out already. DG Bournemouth, Andy Barnett, C. Tobes, Nathan, Jazz, Mark, Ash Ingram. Ben's joining us from his holidays. Big up, Ben. Asking you all to give us a like and subscribe. Let's answer a few of these questions quickly then. So, who have we got? Mr. H. Forgot to put in Discord. How mirrored to price increase and decrease for Dream Team is the Fantasy Premier League price change predictions website? Are they pretty close? I'm not sure what if you're in the chat. I'm not sure what site you mean. I know FF Stuff used to do a predictor. I don't think there was one for last season. Are you able to hear me or not, Tony?
No, sorry, mate.
No. So Mr. H's question there, he said that I forgot to put in the Discord, how mirrored are the price increase and decrease from Dream Team to the Fantasy Premier League prediction websites? There wasn't an FF Stuff price prediction last year, was there? It was the season before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we haven't got anything like FPL. The FPL one's a bit more predictable because it's based on the amount of transfers.
Yeah,
out.
Silly system.
Yeah, I don't like either of them, to be honest. But I do think with Dream Team, over time you do get to sort of basically know it's based on performance. So if you do better than you was expected to do, you normally go up. If you do worse, you normally go down. And then they're more harsh based on how expensive the player is usually. So like looking at Haaland was quite a good example. He got 9 points, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know for certain, but I think he'll probably stay the same on a 9. But they're usually pretty harsh on him. If he hadn't have scored, he would definitely be going down.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah. We've not got anything that's absolutely perfect, but by all means, if you've got anyone you want us to guess, I'm sure if you put that in the Discord, people would give you a pretty good example if you've got a player in mind.
Yeah, important, obviously, listening to the pods when we're going over our teams and options and other stuff. We will, obviously, you'll just get to know how the rises and falls are working, which players are probably going to be going up, which ones are probably going to be going down. Again, this is the first week, though, and everything we've just said could be wrong because they might have tweaked the algorithm. I don't think they will have. I don't think it's something that they needed to touch, but they might have done, and they might have made it less aggressive or more aggressive. But there is maximum still. We know there's maximum 0.3 rise and falls. So, yeah, just go off the pods and the people in the Discord.
Do you reckon Onana is a good option at 2.5?
I mean, he's a good option this week because he scored. I mean, I like him as a player. He obviously gets quite a few tackles and stuff. A cheap option. They spent a lot of money on him. And going into Champions League football, he will get the games.
Free bonus, not bad.
Yeah, he's a good. He's a cheap option into a Champions League team. Who's going to get plenty of games.
Look at this though. So that's why it's important to sort of look though. So 3 bonus points that last game. How many bonus points did he get in 37 matches last season?
Probably 0.
10. So is it 3? Is it 3 in a game? He's hit 10 all season. So you may not want to look at it and go, "Oh, he's great for bonus." He might be now in a different setup and stuff. He also only got 4 attacking returns for the whole season as well. So just got to temper it a little bit, maybe.
Yeah. He's one you just stick onto a list, and if you start to see a bit of a pattern, then yeah, why not?
I mean, if you're short budget wise, come Champions League, you could be all right. Can he 2.5? But you have also got Rodgers 2.5. Cramming your midfield cramming your midfield of Aston Villa 2.5s come Champions League. Who else? We've got Kyle Mavis in the chat, taking Bruno and ESR out, replacing with Vardiol and Matoma. I think it makes sense. Set on Vardiol, wonder if there's someone better at 3.5/4. Already on Doku and Saka. Doku was one that stood out as well.
Yeah, I like the Matoma.
I think that's
I do
right.
like the Matoma. I like their moves. I think they're all right. You get the nice rise out of both of them. Be a 0.6 rise. You avoid the Bruno drop. I'm not sure what Smith Rowe got in the end.
I think it might have been 3 points.
3 points.
Yeah.
They're good moves, them, Cal. I like them.
Anthony, do we need to get Salah in before his price gets away from us?
Yeah. Did a lot of talk, weren't they, about Salah? And I've had my doubts now and again, but playing Dream Team, obviously the same with Harry Kane, is you can't go long without these players, and Salah's in that bracket. So yeah, I would be trying to clamber to get him in if you've not got him.
This is that same scenario that we sort of said, wasn't it? Like, if you start with them and it doesn't work out, it feels a lot easier than to try and get them back in, isn't it?
Oh, it's so hard to get them in. At their price points, it's so difficult, because if you've not started with them, you've usually spread the money out.
But Brentford at home, I think you do want him again, don't you?
Yeah. Because they'll have plenty of chances against Brentford.
David's worried about Porro and his dodgy ankle.
I mean, it had me in stitches. I thought he just had cramp. So obviously Mrs. very heavily pregnant during 2 days' time. And so she's like, oh, that looks like me during night, trying to get cramp out of my legs, stamping it on the floor. So I'm watching him. He was at it for ages. And I'm thinking, why don't you just go down? Just go down and let the physio come on, stretch that out. But now I'm hearing that it might actually be a bit of ligament damage.
Yeah, ligament damage.
Now, obviously, don't quote us on that, because we don't know. But yeah, it's such a difficult position to be in. That I'd like to think, David, that you're going to hear something before Saturday. So I'm pretty much having my alerts on Porro injury news before you do that, because Porro will have a nice rise. And I mean, he's a great option, Porro.
I can't remember if Ange is one of the reliable ones who tells the truth or not. But wait for a bit more info, I think. But I mean, if you have to move to Vardiol, I mean, that's perfectly fine, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, because he's going to rise as well. But
yeah,
you'd like to be having both of them, really.
Right, let's move on to some mini leagues. The first leaderboards of the season, and you found yourself at the top again.
Oh, it's a great start.
Corruption.
The Rovers duo at the top. It's been a great start for Rovers to the season as well. 12 goals in 3 games for Rovers. We've turned into Barcelona with our new Japanese striker, Ohashi. But yeah, me and Andy Barnett up there at the top. Nice start for both of us. Again, there's pressure on being on this podcast. If I can get anywhere near last season's finish, obviously finished in top 50 twice running, if I can get up there again, that would be a very good achievement, that.
Top 3, M. White, M. Wallbank. Second, Jay Bashford and D. Bream. And then first, A. Sutcliffe and Andy Barnett.
Can we just give a shout out as well? It's just reminding me of seeing him on there.
I've just seen as well, I think.
Connor Tobin's granddad. I think he's the oldest pod listener we've got, an 81-year-old. So massive shout out to you, Mr. Tobin. And thanks very much for listening to the pod.
Cheers. but we're not letting you win the tag team.
No.
Right, Tonic, Cash League, top 3. Do you know what? Oh no, I can just about see it. My screen went blurry then.
I can see it.
Jay Curry in 3rd, S Williams in 2nd, and K Anderson in 1st in the Cash League. And then you want to do the Patreon Cash?
Yeah, Patreon Cash League. 3rd, M. Tavares. 2nd is me. And top of the shop, my cov mate, Jordan Jackson. Up the Blaze.
Well played. Cheers for everyone getting involved in the leagues. No one left it last minute, did they?
Honestly. It never fails every season.
Getting battered with those deadline day messages.
Oh, and then the app failed. So they wouldn't when the code I was giving out the code, weren't I? And they were having issues with it. So you had to like send a link but then follow it on desktop. It was right pain in the arse.
Yeah, I'd set up my free community league thing and people were saying that the code wasn't working or the pin wasn't working. I was going, what do you mean it's not working? That's definitely it.
Yeah, as soon as I got one of them messages, I thought, oh shit. I thought I'm going to go back through all this. Yeah. But luckily nobody fell foul of it. So good stuff. And just a big shout out to Mike at FF Stuff as well for the tag team league. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it makes it easier for us, our ability to be able to run the league, the tag team league, which is different to any league that's out there, is down to that clever bloke. So big thanks to Mike.
Cheers, Mike. And that is about it. So if you've enjoyed it, please do leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and you become a Patreon member with the link in the description below. And you get early access, like the people in the chat currently, access to the Discord as well. We've got exclusive articles, fixture ticker, priority Q&A when we're doing our deadline streams that we're going to try and bring back very soon. Just this weekend was a nightmare. I was away all weekend at a wedding. You've got a baby coming, and Ben is in. Where is he? Has he gone?
He's already in Spain. I know he's in Spain.
Yeah.
I can't remember where though.
He's enjoying himself. So we'll be back strong for next week. But yeah, I think that's just about it.
Yeah, you just have to keep an eye out for a notification on the for the deadline streams at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully, if all was as planned with the baby this week, then Saturday morning.
God, you make it through that rain.
Honestly, mate. It did this there 7:45 before we were coming on. Anyway, it saved itself.
Good luck to you both, and we'll see everyone. Cheers. We'll see everyone on the next one.
Yeah, I'll have black eyes and all this hair will be greyer. That time you next to me.
Shell of a man.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Yeah, cheers everyone. Thanks for listening.
See you later. Bye.